In this episode of Travelogue, I'm journeying to China's northwest to explore the desert world of Ningxia. There, I'll discover the ingenious methods being employed to carve out a patch of paradise amidst all the sand.
You don't get much better views than this. We've got the dunes, we've got the Yellow River, that massive mountain range in the distance. Now this is Ningxia. When you hear the name, most people will think of beautiful deserts, but also fertile farmlands, because over the centuries, locals have adapted to and now thrive in this extreme, but also contrasting environment. I'm Tianran. Welcome to this episode of Travelogue and welcome to Ningxia.
Located in northern China, the Ningxia Hui Autonomous Region is one of the country's smallest regions. Here the days are long, dry and scorching hot, for the desert and its climate are never far away.
Well, this is a little bit unexpected. I mean, usually when you think of an oasis, it's a lake within a desert, but here we've actually got a desert surrounded by a lake. It's my first time seeing this kind of landscape.
我们整个沙湖的形成呢，都跟黄河有着关系。像我们现在所看到这一片长了植被的这个沙子呢，它是黄河改道之后留下来的河床，经过风化以后形成的，含有土质。脚底的这一片沙子呢，跟我们贺兰山山后的腾格里沙漠有关。现在处于一个山口，那这个地方地势比较低，久而久之呢，吹过来的一些沙子呢，因为比较细，所以说呢，就停留在这里了。
口弦弦
It comes as a surprise to find a bird reserve in the desert. But I'm reliably informed that of 5 main avian migration routes in China, 2 pass through here. Shahu literally translates as sand lake, and unless you're a bird, the only way to get around is by boat. Which is fine, because it gets you closer to the reeds where the birds nest. Sometimes you'll even catch a glimpse of them, feeding on the shrimps and fish that teem in Shaohu's shallow waters.
这个它是一个鸟类的救助站点，也是一个鸟类的医院。工作人员如果发现一些受伤的鸟，就会把它放到这个里面。我们可以从这里看，这边呢，它的顶端呢，它是分开的。啊，对，是的，是的。当这些鸟类它们伤好之后，就能够飞出去了。哇，
这么多黑天鹅啊！
是的，是从澳大利亚飞过来。哇，它应该是属于候鸟。 但是像在这里的话，有吃有喝，环境又好，啊，它就不想走了。它就不想走了。
Complacent swans. To be fair, they're not the only birds partial to a pleasant environment.
每年这里的鸟的种类的话有198种，6月初到11月份的时候，它可以达到150多万只的。
One of the most common birds you'll see here is the grey heron. It's known to be very picky about where it nests, but once it's chosen a site, it comes back year after year.
This has been pretty eye-opening for me, because I always thought of the desert as being barren and inhospitable and, you know, not home to any kind of life whatsoever, but it's exactly the opposite over here. It's full of life and water too, which is quite unusual.
"60 kilometers away from Shahu is Yinchuan's Museum of Contemporary Art. It too has a link to the Yellow River. In its walls, the wavy design is supposed to represent the layers of sediment left by the river's migration over the centuries. The current exhibition here is aptly named Starting from the Desert, Ecologies on the Edge.
艺术家到周边考察，考察之后，他选中了一个当地的房子，符合他的那个态度想法，跟自然生态、原始的物质始终保持 这个亲和力，而不受所谓的现代化、科技技术高速发展的影响。即便有一天人走了，这里又变成废墟或者怎么样，它又回到自然去了。它放到这里来，它其实就开始提出问题说：那么今天的发展跟过去的人、跟自己的居住生活条件和自然究竟是什么关系呢？所以它其实在提出问题。
This is the museum's second Biennale. Its first attracted headliners like Anish Kapoor and Yoko Ono. This time round, the focus is on artists from desert countries, many of them Central Asian. It's an interesting look at how we've shaped the environment we live in, and how the desert is viewed by cultures around the world. And the exhibits aren't just limited to galleries inside the museum.
Wow. Man, it's so lush over here, it's almost kind of hard to believe that we're so close to the desert. This gazebo faces a place called Xihaigu, which supposedly has the harshest living conditions in all of Ningxia, but as we've seen from the Biennale, people are always able to survive in any condition. Where there's a will, there's always a way.
The northern tip of Ningxia is dominated by the Tengger and Ordos deserts. Here, the Yellow River makes a dramatic U-turn, and in doing so, it forms the panoramic vistas of the Shapuotol scenic area. While its dunes may look forbidding, today this region is one of Ningxia's best-loved tourist destinations.
Oh wow, that's gorgeous, man. It feels like we're on a different planet.
You can also go sand sledding and camel riding, but this definitely takes the cake. There's no better way to explore the desert.
Hold on to your seats. Woo! Here we go! In the past, the desert must have been a nightmare for travelers, but now it's the best playground ever.
However, there's a problem with this playground. It's expanding. For generations, people tried to stop the growth. Then, a few decades ago, a method was discovered quite by chance, when a sandstorm blew away everything except for some straw that had been planted in the sand.
沙坡头出名于世界，就是因为我们沙坡头的治沙。有这样一句话：世界的治沙看中国，中国的治沙看宁夏，宁夏的治沙看中卫沙坡头，就看我们这里。
This simple method, developed in China, has now been adopted by countries including South Africa, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt.
他们慢慢的通过研究发现，这1米乘1米的麦草方格治沙效果是最好的。
哦，最终是这样是最好的。
对对。
薄薄的一层一铺，
沙子呢阻力大，不太厚的话扎射不进去。如果是深度不够的话，风一吹草墙就倒了。锹头垂直于沙面，这样的话阻力小。
垂直于沙面。
锹柄倾斜，稍微往下压一点，然后脚踩上去啊，猛然发力。
哎呦，歪了。
手要把锹柄抓紧，不然的话锹头会左右晃，还容易伤到脚。
对。
扎射好以后呢，我们还有一道工序，就是说会把草墙两边的沙子
给铺一下。
第一呢是固定草墙的根部，第二呢是使麦草垂直于沙面，留在沙子表面的高度呢在15到20公分这样。
Last but not least, to finish off the straw wall, the seeds of some hardy desert shrubs are planted in the grids.
quite interesting though. I think often with inventions, you do have that eureka moment, but it usually comes when you're least expecting it. Kind of hard to imagine that just, simple pieces of straw are able to stop an entire desert, but I guess little by little, it builds up until you can stop an entire movement.
Coming up next, I discover how the ancients mastered the Yellow River and used it to transform the desert into fertile land.
So as beautiful as the desert is, it can't support life without water. And here we not only have oases, we have the mighty Yellow River, which is China's mother river.
The Yellow River forms the southern boundary of the Tengger Desert, effectively cutting it off from the rest of Ningxia. However, very early on, some clever clogs figured out a way to get from one side to the other.
这个是什么呀？这从远处看的好像绑了好多头猪似的。
哎，不是，这就是我们黄河上最古老的交通运输工具——羊皮筏子。
那这应该有一段时间的历史了吧
？2100多年的历史。哇！西汉时期，黄河上有游牧民族，他们发明了羊皮桶、羊皮囊，用来装水、装酒、装谷、杂粮的。
对。
后来呢，他军中有一位军师特别聪明，他看到这个羊皮囊里面装上水，滴水不漏，所以呢，他想了个办法。 把水倒掉以后，吹上气，绑在了特制的木架子上。它体积轻，载重量大，它的载重量要达到1吨。
哦，那还行，那很安全的。然后这个是腿是吧？
A mixture of salty water and oil is poured inside the skin to make it watertight. The salt acts as a preservative, while the oil smooths out the skin and plugs up the follicles.
Oh wow. He's obviously got very healthy lungs. 这就好了？
对，
那么快？
对。
我吹一个吹的，吹一个气球还得吹半天呢。
哎，挺厉害的。
This is really weird smell of like a little bit of sour taste and old leather. 现在上嘴是吗？
对，现在上嘴。
What's my wife gonna think? All right, guys. Oh, it's like someone farted in my mouth.
好，这样行。好，现在这个线上就行了。
Oh.
Yep, I could really taste the oil and salt in there.
Pretty interesting. I've ridden on lots of different crafts, but this will be the first time I've ridden on a raft made out of inflated sheepskins. Well, it looks pretty firm. Hey,
First impression, it's very stable. What we have here is basically an ancient rubber dinghy.
It's pretty comfortable here. I guess they probably didn't have any of these paddings back in the days. It's a very ingenious use of your environment and I guess your natural resources.
A boatman is singing a popular folk song about the Yellow River. The lyrics are simple and remind me of the vastness and might of this river, and in turn, the strength, resilience and awe it inspires in the people who live by it.
after the wide open desert and dunes of Shapotou, we've now, via the Yellow River, gone further north. And that over there is actually the southern tip of the Hurlan Mountains. So we're going to be seeing more and more of that mountain in this valley. And starting from here, people have developed even more ingenious ways to use the water of this river.
Here in northern Ningxia, a vast irrigation network has been built to make use of the river's precious water.
这是黄河山湾第二小输电站，有了这座青龙峡输电站，它就使得我们宁夏从无坝饮水到有坝饮水，结束了宁夏2000多年来无坝饮水的历史。宁夏以前的灌溉面积仅仅只有140万亩，有了这座输电站之后，它现在的灌溉面积达到了700万亩左右。
Over the centuries, the Yellow River irrigation system has been built on and improved countless times. Today, it's one of the oldest irrigation projects in the world that's still in use.
你看这条干渠，就是我们宁夏平原上第一条引黄河水灌溉的一条渠系——清渠。清渠距今有2300多年历史啊，2300多年历史。
现在还一直在用。
对，到现在一直还用。
Wow, man, that's incredible. This is really an amazing feat of human engineering. I mean, it's because of this, I guess, that Ningxia is what it is today.
Ningxia is one of China's poorest regions, and that's largely due to the lack of water. The fact is, the Yellow River only flows through northern Ningxia, leaving parts of the south dry and impoverished. Which makes it all the more surprising to see this lush greenery. In fact, for centuries, this little pocket of Ningxia has been an important rice-producing region. It's thanks to the irrigation project that farmers have been able to grow rice in such an arid area. Here, the Yellow River is very much their lifeline. A local saying has it that in the most drought-stricken parts of Ningxia, if it doesn't rain, you don't eat. In many ways, it's a luxury to be trying this rice.
来尝一下我们的米饭。
哎，好，谢谢。哇，这一大碗米饭。
这都是自己种的，
自
己加工的。
确实很香，也不黏。It's really tasty actually. It's you can pretty much taste every single grain of rice. To be honest, before I came here, I kept hearing people say, "Oh, the Yellow River is the cradle of Chinese civilization," and you kind of don't realize it until you come here and you've seen that the Yellow River has basically turned barren desert into fertile land and provided livelihoods for so many people, and at the end of the day, given us this really tasty bowl of rice. 真的很好的，很香的这个米，怪不得是贡米呢。那我们得多吃点。
Coming up next, I learn about the importance of the Hurlan Mountains and the precious products found on and below its peaks.
From Ningxia's flowing sand dunes to its vast yellow river, we now arrive at its most immovable landmark, which is the Hurlan Mountain range. And with its immense size, it quite physically blocks the desert on that side of the mountains from encroaching upon the fertile plains of Ningxia on this side.
These mountains are also an excellent hiking destination. I've come to the Suyukou National Forest Park. From here, you can access several of the range's peaks. They're not particularly high, but one of them, Dingding, serves an important function.
Here we are. This is Ningxia's only meteorological observation station which can't be reached by car, which is why it has such a nice little climb just there.
This gentleman is in charge of recording all the meteorological data at this station.
这是测雨量的。贺兰山是中国北方的一个地理分界线嘛，就是它是季风和非季风的分界线，所以说，山的北边和南边的降水不一样。
I don't envy him his job. Fu Bin has to be here, come rain, shine, or sandstorm.
所以其实您的工作是特别艰苦的，因为就是下大雨的时候，你也得在外边去去忙这些器材。
下雨之前，你先要把这都打开，里面的土都得刷出来。再有一个是山上的水的问题，关键是，因为这个生活方面，水断了，水是昨天才上来的，以前所以水一上来，我们现在存好多水。
摔呢。
Fu Bin lives up here all year round with his wife. He's responsible for vital equipment that measures things like temperature, humidity, wind, and of course, rainfall. It's a lonely job. But on the flip side, he practically has the entire mountain to himself.
You get a load of this. Gotta be honest, I always thought the Hurlan Mountains were kind of barren, but from up here it has this kind of striking beauty, sort of rough charm, and it's immediately obvious how important this mountain is to Ningxia, because right over there is China's fourth largest desert, the Tengger Desert, and it's only because of this mountain range that this side isn't also covered in sand dunes.
I realise now why the meteorological station was built here. There's been a sudden change in the weather, and we can actually see the storm clouds rolling in. Before it starts to pour, we make our way down the mountain to meet another person whose work depends on the Hurlan Mountains.
哎，你好，老板。
哎，你好。
哇，咱们这的砚台真漂亮。
对，这是我们宁夏的贺兰砚。啊。
这个颜色都是自然形成的吗？
对，贺兰石主要是它这个色彩这一块比较丰富，而且颜色呢比较鲜艳，深紫和豆绿这两种主色调。还有这个红色的、黄色这个韵这一块有。材料来的比较艰难，我们这个材料呢是在我们贺兰山海拔2600米的地方，现在为止还是靠人工背，来回大概需要7到8个小时。
In addition to being difficult to source, Hurlan inkstones can also be tricky to carve. That's because the colours permeate the whole stone, so as a craftsman, you need to know how to bring them out. It's a test of skill and creativity.
你像这个的话，它就是一个上面深紫色、豆绿、红色，再一个豆绿，再一个红色。实际上这个从彩的层数讲，它是5层彩。
5层彩。
雕出来以后呢，这个花呢就是深紫色的这一块，再往下一层这一块就是绿色的。这个砚池这一块做下去以后呢，它也是绿色。上面这个水池再深一点的，就是底下这个红色、红绿色。
And now it's my turn. But don't worry, I'm only scratching at the surface.
Oh, it's so, I guess, malleable, soft. I don't know. I've never made an inkstone before, but it's kind of surprising because when you look at the Hurlan Mountain, it's not particularly pretty. It's kind of barren, actually. But for it to produce something as exquisite as this, it's pretty unexpected.
Inkstones are one of the 4 treasures of the study that are highly prized by Chinese calligraphers. You're supposed to grind inkstones on them to produce ink, but you'd be reluctant to do that with exquisite works of art like these. A good Hurlan inkstone will set you back at least $1,000, and a great one, well, sky's the limit. In the past 2 decades, the Hurlan Mountains have also become known for another product: wine. In fact, the entire eastern slope of the range is covered in vineyards. In some circles, Ningxia is being called China's Bordeaux. I'm visiting Chateau Yuanshu, a family-run winery which, like many in this region, borrows French expertise to make Chinese wine. The question is, are they any good?
I can already smell the fragrance kind of emanating from this glass. Man, that is, I'm feeling kind of nervous because I'm sitting next to these 2 experts. Don't really know how to describe this wine, but it is absolutely incredible.
In recent years, there's been a steady increase in quality wine production. And in 2011, a boutique Ningxia winery took home a surprise win at the prestigious Decanter World Wine Awards. China is the world's largest red wine market and one of its biggest producers, with more vineyards than France.
爷爷的时候就开始在这边。
哦，是吗？
那阵儿我们这儿是一个采砂场嘛，是86年的时候，就我爷爷带着我爸和我二叔他们俩。
咱们这个酒庄建筑风格还是挺好的
啊。对，我们整个酒庄都是用我们贺兰山下面的石头来建设的。对，因为这些石头都是我们葡萄园里的石头，我们种葡萄之前需要把这个地里的石头都先筛出来。最早的时候，像我们这儿原来就是这样子的戈壁滩，地里只有石头和这些杂草，没有任何的植物。
Ironically, it's thanks to Ningxia's lack of water that vineyards do so well here.
我们宁夏比较干旱嘛，适合种葡萄。再一个，我们这边的日照量比较充足，因为我们现在这个土壤里面就您看到这个石头特别多，整个都是这样子的砾石。一个就是土壤的渗透性很好，就是渗水性很好。再一个就是石头多了，土壤里的矿物质会更加丰富，它根系可以吸收到这些矿物质，出来的葡萄表现它的这个表现力就是更加复杂、更加丰富这样子。
Slowly but surely, Chinese wines are gaining international recognition, with Ningxia leading the way. This success is further evidence of something that has really struck me about this place: that people here have learned to benefit from their strong connection to their land.
You know, before coming here, I always thought Ningxia was an inhospitable land, but I've realized that the truth is the opposite. Because it's sheltered by the Hurlan Mountains and also fed by the Yellow River, the locals here have come up with many ingenious ways to cultivate the land and also make the best use of their environment. And whether it's producing imperial rice or internationally acclaimed wines, they're creating products that are emblematic of this region and also helping to put Ningxia into the global limelight for many years to come. I'm Tianran, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of Travelogue.